flower for me, a flower for you. Isn't that so pretty? This delicate appreciation from nature. Maybe we don't know what its struggle is, if it struggles at all. But this is one of the many miracles of life, when we can tap in and tune in to what is really going on around us, right? Hi Lane, hi Jessica, hi Amanda, hi beautiful ladies, how are we doing today? Hi Rich, hi Raphael, hi Madi and Rebecca. I hope everyone's having an amazing day. It's cold, by the way. It's not as cold as it has been the past couple days, but of course, you know, I'm taking Buddy on my walk. And our walk. Hi, Lisa and Darcy. And so I really have to tell you that it's the little things in life. The more we appreciate them, the more our life shows up for us as opposed to against us. And that sometimes we really don't know what's going to happen, and we get all uptight and anxious about something that formulates in our mind of what we think is going to happen. And it takes us into anxiety, frustration, fear, right? You know, it's all an illusion. Hi, Megan, honey. Hi, Jenna. So in the end, we can attach to things, but that's not going to serve us. The ideas are just as much the thoughts, attachments that we have to how we want things to be, the ideal, the perfect reality, right? And so when we wake up from the illusions, because we create illusions every single day, when we get caught up in our mind, we're not being present in the moment and appreciating what is right there in front of us at all times, what is going on right here, right now. You know, being present is the gift. There's no coincidence that, you know, the words make so much sense. Can you all hear me well? It's a bit windy, I apologize. And it has been windy the past couple days. I've got truth bumps, angel bumps, whatever you want to call these. Some call them goosebumps. There ain't no goose around here. So I've been thinking about this and reflecting upon this for the past couple days. And because it has been kind of chilly, I have decided to kind of go within. I am on my moon cycle, so I'm very much internal, reflective, noticing what is coming up, a lot more intuitive into what is really happening into me, I see. And I've gone through the cycle of emotions. I think this is extremely normal and natural, and something that needs to be honored, right? And so I've been honoring them in my own way and just sitting with them. Not always easy, right? So if you're somebody who, like myself, has a trouble enough to quiet the mind, let alone sit with what's going on in it, this is the biggest challenge that many of us face, is being fully present in the now, right here, even amongst all those crazy thoughts that pop up. The truth in surrendering is not giving up. Surrendering is just owning that maybe you don't know the answers, and you don't need to know the answers, nor do you need to figure them out or be so fixated on them that you take yourself out of what is really happening in the moment. Surrender is actually a vulnerability and a courage to allow things to unfold in a way that may be so much more than you could ever imagine. But you'll never know if you don't learn to surrender and be with what is, right? So in those moments when we're at the most, my gosh, is this going to end? Goodness gracious, this is killing me. I'm going to go out of my mind, right? In these moments, those are the moments when it's time to just, you know what, take a deep breath. You can scream your head off. Do whatever feels natural. I don't recommend you suppress any emotion. Energy needs to stay in motion. If you need to move your body, get out in nature, take a walk. That's the first thing I need to do. That's one of the ways that I honor my emotions and my feelings, and when things bubble up, is I get moving, right? Oh my gosh, yes, with 6 children, I applaud you and I bow to you. I don't know how you do it, but one of these days I'd like that we could collaborate and discuss that, because I have many questions. And so in surrender, you learn humility. You learn, wow, maybe I don't have all the answers, and maybe I don't know what's going to happen next. And I know I can't control it all. Surrender means recognizing that you're not always meant to control every aspect, or that you even ever had control, right? Do we have control? Is that the illusion? The idea, the mind wants to tell you, hey, we got this covered. We got this under control. We got this under wraps. Don't worry about it. But you're worried about it because that's the mind's way of sticking around. It fears that you're going to annihilate it if you stop thinking, when in reality it just can sit there and observe the moment. But it's finding the balance, it's finding the peace within the chaos and the storm of the mind. Oh, we have the ospreys are chirping overhead. And you know, it's just like with this wind. Birds don't worry about flapping wings or flying, unless of course they have a broken wing. That would be a totally different story. Okay, that I've squirreled. But even the eagle will soar on the waves, the currents of the wind, right? Is that not the most beautiful thing ever? I wish I could do that. I wish I could lift my body up. I would do it in a heartbeat. Hi, Jade, honey. And so, again, it's really like miracles will only unfold before your eyes if you surrender and allow the surprise. I love rhyming. I'm sorry, I'm being a little silly. If you can only just be present enough so that you don't lose opportunities and miss the miracles. What is happening in front of you, it's always happening. It's just how present are you to witness and really receive it, right? The only way to receive is to allow. And sometimes we can say we receive something and say, well, I didn't want that. Well, you allowed it still. So much of what is humbling in surrender is recognizing and taking personal responsibility for your thoughts, actions, and deeds. You know, everything that we do is coming from the mind of a control aspect of, you know, just putting attention on something, you're growing it, right? Because here's the irony: if we didn't care, we wouldn't get upset. And that includes when you say, I don't care what somebody thinks, even though you're really upset that somebody said something about you. The reality is you did care enough to say that. And there's nothing wrong with caring. All these emotions that get triggered and pop up, they're all part of being human. And nobody said you shouldn't feel a certain way. For you, if you feel a certain way, honor that. Don't let somebody tell you shouldn't feel some way. If, for example, I know that quite often when we communicate with people, we want the best for them. We'll turn around and we'll say, I love you, here's what I offer you, and your intentions may be one thing, but they may not be received the same way because maybe that person's not open to allowing and receiving what it is you're giving with these intentions. But we can't control the outcome of somebody else's response or reaction to us. And so there's so much we learn through relationship, through engaging, through communication, that we can learn enough to see what it is that our mind is fixated on. If we're, like I said, upset because somebody doesn't receive something from us the way we intended it, or we had this attachment to how we want them to receive it, like, oh, they should be so happy about this, I'm excited to give it to them. What if they're not as excited as you are? Are you going to get upset because they're not happy when maybe, you know, you did the best you can? We're all showing up at different stages in human evolution, and we're all striving for the same thing, and it's really just love and compassion and connection. And so not all of us are in the same space. And that in itself can take us out of our joy, can take us out of the appreciation of what's present in the moment. the act of giving in itself should be joyful for you. It's not the receptivity on the other end that should give you joy, because again, that's an attachment to what that person is reflecting back to you. And if you are caught up in that aspect of the give and take, that, oh, they didn't appreciate it, well, that's not your concern. You did it because you wanted to do it. And if you didn't, well, now there's the first problem, is that it means it was a conditional giving. And so again, when you want to give something, always do it from your heart, not from your head. The head will get you in trouble every single time if you get caught up in the attachments, right? But coming back to miracles, because here's the irony, is that when you do surrender to not knowing the outcome, to just being with whatever is, and I'm telling you, I'm the first to say it's not always easy. Sometimes I just want to scream my head off like, ah! I get frustrated, I get anxious, I get scared, because I'm human. And because, yes, I still have attachments. I can say all this stuff, but that doesn't mean I don't have my own hang-ups. I don't have my own attachments. I do consciously work on surrendering to what is. And it's not always easy, because then, like I said, those emotions will come up. That anger, the fear, the love, the tears, the mourning, the grief. Whatever I'm experiencing at any time in my life, it can be challenging. And I have to honor whatever comes up. And I really encourage each and every one of you that whatever's going on with you, and I know for me lately, I've been through a roller coaster of emotions. And for my own self, and I don't always like to show them in front of other people. And there's a reason for that, because maybe it's that fear again. And I've expressed in various videos how I didn't learn how to properly, hi Dawn, express my emotions. And not knowing how to properly express your emotions can cause a lot of stomach anxiety and frustrations and you know, like little children. Let me tell you, this is probably why I really appreciate children, and I don't take them for granted, in the sense that I know they have so much to teach us. I really do. Children can give us back a glimpse into who we were at one point and what we went through during those different stages. When I look back at my childhood and the fact that, like I said, I didn't know how to express myself the best way, because I wasn't taught the way that you should healthy expression. In fact, I had to learn coping mechanisms and survival tactics and how do I get attention. This is what children learn, is through the responses of their peers, through their family, for those who rear them, raise them up and grow them. Children respond to their environment. I know I have a good friend who reminded me this years ago. He was saying how children innately, we don't lie. We learn to lie. Lying comes from the fear of a particular response. So of course, it's a trigger that we would ever go into a lie as adults, as growing up. And the perfect example that was given was, if you tell a child, don't take this cookie, and then they take the cookie because they didn't listen to you, but then you scold them, well, they're not going to want to be scolded again, but they might want that cookie. So when they go to take the cookie another time, that child has learned, I don't want to be scolded. Thank you, Dawn, honey. They don't want to be scolded because it's painful. It hurts. And of course they don't want to be disappointing you. So they'll lie. They'll learn over time to lie, to cover up. Because out of the fear of going through the pain of being scolded again, however that may look to them. And so it creates the pattern of lying. And I thought that was one of the most simple, some of the simplest ways to really reflect upon how many of us go into a pattern out of fear of a certain attached experience, reaction that we had growing up. How many of you used to sneak out of your home because you were told you were grounded or you couldn't go out? I never really had that happen. And when I did do it a couple times, first off, it was more exciting that I could do it, but I didn't even need to do it. That was the irony. And so it's an interesting dynamic. We have to kind of check ourselves and really trace what it is that really created the pattern. And that's why I highly recommend journaling. That's why, like I've talked about, if anybody was interested in a journaling group, it's something that I really, really love to do because I have found the most personal growth through my own journaling and reflection. When you, just for example, if you were to go through the course of a day when you are going through extreme emotions and just writing down what it is you were feeling, you'll first off, when you start writing, it starts to create kind of like this trail. Like, why am I feeling this way? Oh, I'm so angry. And this is crazy. And da-da-da-da-da-da. And this reminds me of, oh my gosh, that one time when da-da-da-da. And then I remember this happened and that happened. And you start to it takes you down memory lane in a lot of ways, because that's what it is. When we get upset, whenever we have any type of emotion, that emotion is there to come to surface so that you can confront whatever it is that's been suppressed. It's based on the trigger that created it to begin with. Triggers don't just exist because someone upset us or did something to us. It's a recreated experience that we never fully sat with, felt fully, healed, and released. We didn't go through the full range of emotions during the time it initially occurred. What we did was found a way to push it down, or we may have even been told, don't even bother with that. Don't put your attention on that. Ignore that. You shouldn't worry about that. Whatever. It could have been somebody else who suggested you got rid of it, or you did it yourself. And over time, even as we learn, we'll push things away even more, just as a result, because that's what we were told it's easier to do instead of confronting and dealing with it. But also over the course of a day, while you're journaling, you'll realize, holy crap, this stuff goes through my mind. Whoa. And I personally write them on my notes on my iPhone. My jaw popped. So yeah, I have to say it's been huge for me, especially with meditation, because then I'm able to go, oh my gosh, I see where that's coming from, and now I can really get it. And then I get these drop-ins and these glimpses, insights, and I feel more, wow, in tune with who I am, and able to process and release things a lot easier. And maybe the trigger will still come up, but I'll be able to return to the reminder of, oh, this is where that originated. And while I'm able to go back to the source, I can release it more and more each time. It's what they call peeling the layers of the onion away, right? And releasing and letting go. But you gotta feel it fully to heal it fully, right? I'm serious. Meditation is my go-to, and I don't always feel like I want to meditate, but I'm going to tell you, I throw in my mantra and I listen to it in the house, and then things will start to drop in because the mantra will change my vibration. Right, Amanda? Awesome. So yeah, it's huge. It is life-changing. And when you become more aware by writing things down, it just gives you that opportunity to go, okay, humbling. Sometimes it's okay to sit with that stuff, and you should. Honor it all. Like I said, and I say all the time, there is no good and bad. It's thinking that makes it so, but in the sense that the good and the bad are all part of who you are, and you need to embrace and integrate them all to be whole. You can't push one away and not, you're going to be incomplete even without those aspects that you maybe disliked or had a horrible time. It's when you embrace it all that you'll be the most whole. I know for myself, the more I realize, wow, you know what, it's okay, it's all right. I can't push away that aspect of myself that might have been painful. And so I've kind of reflected over the past few days. I mean, I've had some memories that I totally forgot about. In this moment, I can't remember specifically, but I thought, wow, I don't even think I've ever told some of those memories to anybody. I had some crazy stuff popping in. But one of the things that came up that I was reflecting upon was grief. And how many of us, we're afraid to grieve, we're afraid to cry, we're afraid to go through a process of basically what grief is a mourning process like death. And so the idea that, something could be painful, and it doesn't mean someone died either, by the way. It doesn't mean you lost someone, but maybe it's a change in your life. Maybe maybe it is you lose somebody, but there's so many different ways that we grieve. It's so many different ways. There's so many different things to grieve, right? Hi, Elaine's mom, Peggy. Thank you for joining. Hi, Mary. I have found that over the course, and it's getting chilly, so I'm putting on my flannel, my pull. It's much. Oh, that feels so good, y'all. Hi, Mary. Oh. And I even got gloves. It's that cold. And so I was reflecting upon this grief and how grief is really just the sense of loss. And I don't know too many people who realize that it doesn't mean you lost someone, but maybe it's just the loss of a lifestyle, the loss of I know sometimes it's something material. Well, it always is, most of the times, this idea of materialism, but loss is not a bad thing. It's just this idea that we even had something. And I really reflected upon this the other day because I was like, whoa, wait a minute here. Here's the illusion of the mind coming into play. Do we really even have anything? Because this illusion is that we have something, but we have nothing. Yet, we really have everything. And so, again, this is that pendulum swinging, the balancing of the scales, the irony of life, that just like the mind, we think we have control over things. We also think we own things, or again, we're attached to things. It's really, it's just this, it's another root cause of suffering, but there's nothing wrong with grieving. So yes, we have a lot of reasons we suffer, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't honor the process either. Oh, thank you, Marie. I love you too. We need to honor the whole grieving process of whatever it is that comes up for us that we feel we're grieving. And again, not everybody's going to grieve the same things you grieve. We all have and come from different experiences and walks of life and belief systems and attachments, and not one of us is exactly the same, nor have we ever had the exact same experience. If anything, they're similar. But you can never recreate you. You could never recreate me. All of us are totally unique. Totally unique. And so with this grieving process, and I've gone through it over the past couple of days, I've kind of been just sitting with some possible outcomes, some things that I had to sit with in the sense of, what if this is this? And when I say, I'm just using, just to be general. If you feel you are losing something, no matter what it is, you put it, fill in the blank. If I feel like I'm losing something that I value, because that's what it is. When we value something, a person, place, or thing, that's where we're attached to it and where we feel we're losing, or the grief of loss. And so again, when we value something, and we fear the loss of it, a lot of emotions will bubble up and a lot of thoughts will come to surface, and you'll start to process in such a way that this is where journaling will come out in the most handy way, where you can sit with it and go, okay, now what? And allow yourself to cry, to scream, to laugh, to jump up and down. Do whatever you feel you need to do if you're going through anything like that in your life, now or ever. Journal about it and ask yourself, what is it about this that I cannot let go, that I do not want to let go? Or what is it I'm really fearing here? What is it I feel I'm losing? Because it's also, again, it's a fear, it's going through a fear. And it's the fear of the unknown without the valued loss, right? The attachment to this idea that when that's gone, what am I now? What am I left with? And see, it's a total change in your life. Oh my gosh. Wow, Sandy, that is beautiful. I'm so sorry for your mom, your loss. And that a hamster brought it to surface for you. And that's, it could be the subtlest thing, especially if you're someone who never fully went through the process of grieving. And it's said that you really should allow yourself, I mean, I'm not just saying this anyway, but I would say it's so important to allow yourself to go through the grieving process. Cry your eyes. I believe a friend or teacher, I should say, in my Kundalini tradition said that when you lose, especially as a mother or a spouse or anybody very close to you, as a mother, your siblings, whoever, very close, dear people, it's said you will shed the tears to fill a bathtub, and until you've filled it enough to the surface or whatever it is, nobody could ever tell you how long it's going to take. And you should just honor that. Oh, it really is so important to allow, Sandy. I totally agree. And it really is a beautiful process if you allow it to be. Because there's also, in the grieving process, there's a celebration as well. And yeah, we can sit with it and go, I don't want this because it changes everything and I have to change my whole life around it, and it's fearful and unknown and scary, and all the things you'll miss or as a result of this so-called loss that you grieve. But the celebration is also in there to say, wow, all the beauty, all the joy, all that I was able to experience and grow, the gifts of the individual or the item or the animal. Grief is really to remind us, to humble us, to recognize and appreciate more of what we have already. That every time we have to go through a grieving, a transition, it's really an opportunity to be more present again. To remind you that, wow, life is fleeting, yes. And the more I'm present here and now, the more the grieving will be easier in the sense of celebration more than the upset, right? Because each and every one of us, we really are here to serve one another, and we're all here living this life in a way that it's precious. And how much of us are going through life recognizing the precious gift of it and the value in it? Again, if you give more attention and focus on that which you value, the more it will grow, the more joy you will receive out of it, the more your appreciations will flourish, your value, your own personal value will be reflected in that as well, because it's this receptivity, it's this what you give, you receive, what you receive, you're giving, right? The more you can give in to the now, the more you'll get out of every moment in the moments as they unfold, in momentum, right? I hope you're all finding the joy and the gratitude in this day. This is a wet Wednesday on the waterfront. Waterfront Wednesday. Actually, I liked every day over here, but the weather is chilly. So my grieving process has basically been, it is cold outside. I want the heat back. Can someone turn the temperature, the thermostat back on here in Florida? It's not supposed to be this cold. I've already had this experience, this conversation where I said, hey, it hasn't been this cold in years. I think somebody told me in 20 years she's lived here, it's never been this cold here at this time of year. Yes, Lane, every day is a gift, and I truly try to remind myself, and sometimes I forget, and I have to be reeled in. Every moment should really put a smile on your face and joy in your heart. And if it isn't, you really need to check in and ask yourself, what is it that you're resisting? Why are you resisting the joy? Why are you resisting this experience in the moment? What is the impatience all about? Because that's really what it is, isn't it? The resistance is a form of impatience. And usually it's beginning within ourselves. It's beginning with self. Everything starts with self. So if you want to change that around, just learn to find the calm in your impatience. Calm your brain, calm your mind. Look at your thoughts, write them down. Whew, I think it's time for me to continue. Oh, I didn't allow grieving, and the reality was that I ended up walking out of a good job. But even mixed emotions, I guarantee, Dawn, that probably all served you, no matter how you handled it. I think that there is no right or wrong choice in the end, because it's always going to bring us down that path of what we're meant to experience in this life. It may seem we choose a more difficult path as a result of grieving, but how would we learn any different if we didn't go through what appears to be difficult to find what is the most ease and grace in our lives, right? So to find the ease and grace, sometimes we have to find the chaos and the obstacles within our lives. I know for myself, if I hadn't gone through a lot of the craziness that I chose in my life, how would I appreciate what I have now? And so there is beauty in everything that we experience. It's just, can you see the blessings in all the lessons? Can you embrace that maybe you had to go through that crappy experience or take that not so great road in order to arrive to where I'm at? And see, that's the beauty right there. You can see it now because of it. And that is the contrast of life. Without the good, we can't see the bad, and without the bad, we can't see the good. But then when we come to a certain point, at least in my life, what I have found that the good and the bad are both serving. And now, because of all that contrast, I'm able to go, wow, you know what? It's not so bad either way. And so that even if my mind might have perceived it as being bad in the past, like I said, when you go through the grieving process, it's like, this is horrible. This is the worst thing that ever could have happened to me. And the reality is later on, you're going to look back and go, that was the best thing that ever happened to me. And so as a result of that, I've learned that it's so much better now to see them both equal and to no longer see it as contrast, but just as it is. Letting it be, being here with it now as it is, as much as possible. Thank you, Amanda. You changed your profile now. You confused me there. And I'm sorry for the loss of your brother as well. I know that especially family's probably the hardest. People that you're the closest with, I mean, those are going to be the hardest ones to go through. I have not gone through the grieving process with my family, my parents, and I'm very grateful for that. When it happens, I'll have to know when when it happens, how I will deal with it. I can never even assume I know what it would feel like for anybody else, let alone myself, to lose a parent or a sibling. I honor and appreciate all of you who have, because I know that we never know what we don't know until we know it. And so when we go through it is when we're going to know. Just like anything in life, we don't know how we're going to handle it until the moment shows up for us to handle it. And so again, it's doing the best we can with what we have, and not judging ourselves and honoring whatever pops up for us emotionally. Oh, thank you so much, Maria. That is the most beautiful thing I've read today. I really, truly appreciate those words. Thank you so much. Thank you. And so, Buddy's about to come make an appearance. He's about to knock over my camera setup, which is kind of funny. I think it's time to take off and do the walk. Oh, honey, I'm sorry for your father. I would say, in my own case, if there were anything to happen with my dad or my mom, I would probably do the best I could to just be present with them as much as possible. I try now. I have to admit, my dad's been sick and the weather's been cold, so I know he's been hanging at home. And I have too, because it's cold outside. I'm barely outside walking Buddy. Buddy's like looking at me going, hey, it's time. It's time. But he doesn't realize how cold it is for me. So, yeah, I like it. I like Amanda Melissa. It's very pretty. I love you all. I hope that you're having an amazing, oh my gosh, an amazing, amazing day. Wow, 93. Good for him, Dawn. My grandfather passed this past year, and he was the last of my grandparents. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Sandy. I love you. Big hugs and kisses to the UK. Oh, you're all very special in my heart. If I don't communicate with you all the time, I really do appreciate when you show up. I really do appreciate those shares. I appreciate that I'm able to show up for you. And I value each and every one of you. So whatever feedback you have for me, I truly value it. And please, in the comments at any point, if there's anything else I can serve and provide you, or you feel that I can reflect upon that may help you and serve you, let me know. My hands are even in gloves. I put gloves on. These are old running gloves. I had to dig them out, and the reflective stuff is coming off. Isn't that really sad how things deteriorate over time? And I was just saying how I try to take care of things, because when I was younger growing up and there were things that I really wanted and maybe we didn't have the money for it, I really appreciated everything. I learned to value what I had, what I received. And so whether it be clothes or shoes or purses, if I worked hard for it, I appreciated and valued it more, and take good care of things. My grandmother taught me that. So Buddy and I are going to continue our walk, and I'm going to, as you can see, warm up with this beautiful sun. It's just deceiving because the sun is out, but it's just chilly because there's wind on the water. I'm going to ride the waves of wind, y'all. Be blessed. I love you all. Have an amazing evening. Bye.